Hi, I'm Tony Van Veen, CEO of Discmaker. The RIAA recently shared that 60% of all records sold last year were pressed on colored vinyl. An artist recently asked me a related question. Does black vinyl actually sound better than colored vinyl? If you're a vinyl head, you know most record collectors think it does. But is it true? Let's do a deep dive. In this video, I'll explain the visual and sonic differences between vinyl colors, and I will rank all vinyl types and colors from best to worst. But let's start with some theory. Traditional vinyl records are pressed from polyvinyl chloride, commonly known as PVC. And you may be surprised to know that PVC is not black in its natural state. It starts out translucent, like this. If you've ever seen a clear vinyl record, that's actually very close to what raw vinyl looks like before anything gets added to it. Unlike colored records, where color is added to the PVC, black vinyl isn't just vinyl that's been colored black. Black records get their color from something called carbon black. Carbon black. Sounds like something from Charles Dickens' time, doesn't it? Turns out, carbon black is a very fine carbon powder created from petroleum products. It was originally added to vinyl compounds to color the records black, but manufacturers quickly discovered it had some other benefits too. Turns out, carbon black strengthens the vinyl compound, it helps reduce static, and it improves durability. And historically, it helped manufacturers produce very consistent pressings. And that's why black vinyl became the industry standard. For decades, black vinyl had a reputation among audiophiles as the best sounding format available. Does that mean colored vinyl sounds worse? Well, yes and no. Let me explain. For a long time during vinyl's early decades, colored vinyl actually did sound worse. If you talk to serious audiophiles in the 70s, 80s, even 90s, many would tell you to avoid colored records altogether. The reason was that the pigments used in colored vinyl weren't always consistent. Some compounds introduced more surface noise, and visual and audio quality control back in the day wasn't what it is today. And black records are just easier to visually check. So back then, the reputation was largely deserved. But today's vinyl industry is very different. The vinyl compounds are of a higher quality and purity, and the whole vinyl industry is all about making a quality record. And the result is that a modern, well-made colored vinyl record can sound extremely close to a black vinyl record. So let's discuss which vinyl variants sound best and which sound worst. Instead of ranking every individual color, I think it's more useful to think about vinyl quality in tiers. And before anyone gets upset, remember, we're talking about general tendencies here. A great pressing in one tier can outperform a poor pressing in just about any other tier. But broadly speaking, here's how I'd break it out. Tier 1, audiophile grade. At the top sits black vinyl. Black vinyl is still the gold standard. It's the most proven formulation, the most consistent, and the lowest risk choice if your primary goal is extracting every last bit of performance from a record. If you're pressing an audiophile jazz album and every tiny sonic detail matters, black vinyl is still your safest choice. Tier 2 is virtually identical for most listeners. This tier includes clear vinyl and solid colored vinyl and translucent colored vinyl. Here you can see the solid versus the translucent, also called transparent by some plants, meaning you can see through it. You can clearly see the difference between the translucent and the colored. Solid color. This tier of clear and colored vinyl actually represents the vast majority of records being pressed today. And yes, if we're being technical, there may be tiny audio differences between the various formulations. But I'm not going out on a limb when I say that a well-pressed colored vinyl record will almost certainly sound better than a poorly pressed black one. Today, the quality of the mastering engineer, the source audio, and the pressing plant matter far more than whether your record is red or black. Now, before the audiophiles flood the comment section, let me be clear. If sound quality is your only objective, black vinyl still wins. But the difference is a lot smaller than many people think, which is why when you add the visual sizzle of colored vinyl to the fact that those records sound really, really good nowadays, we end up with so much colored vinyl on the market today. Tier 3 looks great, slightly more variable. This is where you get marble vinyl and splattered vinyl, and you can see them. They come with a solid base, or they can come with a clear base, a translucent base, and there's also swirl effects and metallic finishes. And I don't have samples of all of these because we generally ship every single record we press to our customers, but these records can still sound excellent. But we're now starting to mix multiple compounds together, multiple colors, and within all of that within the same record. And since the manufacturing process becomes more complicated, consistency sometimes becomes a little harder to achieve. If there are any sonic differences at all, they're usually very small, but they are a bit more likely to exist than with a standard solid color pressing. And by the way, metallics look amazing, but the additives needed tend to add a bit more surface noise. And then finally, Tier 4, which I call collectability first. And here we get to glow-in-the-dark vinyl and picture disc. These are the formats that are most likely to involve compromise in sound quality. Glow-in-the-dark records use phosphorescent additives that can increase surface noise. Picture discs are built differently from conventional records because there is printed artwork embedded into the record, and the pressed surface, at least on one side of the record, is actually a plastic laminate for some pressing types. The result is a record that looks amazing but requires some sonic compromises in the manufacturing process. Now, to be fair, both of these formats have also improved dramatically over the years, but if your primary goal is sound quality, these would not be my choice. So, what should you do if you're considering putting your music on wax? Well, depends on your goals. If you're making a record specifically for audiophiles, I'd probably recommend black vinyl. But if you're an independent artist selling records at shows, the differences in audio quality between black and colored and effects like splatter or marble are inaudible to the average fan. The market has shown that fans love colored vinyl. They love limited editions. They love variants. They love things that feel special and collectible. And the reality is, the sales boost you get from a beautiful colored vinyl edition will probably matter a lot more than any tiny sound quality difference most fans will never hear. So, being the pragmatist I am, I'd say don't let theoretical audio perfection get in the way of making something your fans will be truly excited to buy, and which will still sound amazing. Put out the vinyl that excites you the most, and will get the greatest response from your fans. I hope you found this helpful. I'll see you next time.